Roadside modal stood as a solitary beacon in the storm, its flickering neon sign casting eerie shadows over the rain-soaked asphalt. It was the kind of place people found when they were running from something, be it the law, their past, or their demons. The peeling paint on the walls, the sagging roof, and the broken light above the office door hinted at years of neglect. But it stood resolute, its vacancy light buzzing faintly in the relentless downpour. A single car pulled into the lot, headlights cutting through the mist before dimming. The driver stepped out, rain splashing around their feet as they hurried to the front office. The receptionist, a thin figure with hollow eyes, barely glanced up from their battered desk. The transaction was brisk. A key exchanged for a crumpled bill. Room 5, the receptionist muttered, sliding the key across the counter. Then, almost as an afterthought, their voice dropped to a whisper. Whatever you do, stay away from room 6. And if you hear it whisper, run. The hallway leading to the rooms was dimly lit, with flickering sconces casting long, jittery shadows. The air smelled of mildew and something else, something metallic and faintly sour. Room 5 was unremarkable. A bed with a faded floral comforter, a squeaky dresser, and a small TV bolted to the wall. The rain hammered against the window, a constant drumming that would have been soothing under different circumstances. But the room directly across the hall was different. Its door, marked with the number 6, was unlike the others. A heavy padlock secured it, and the wood bore strange carving symbols that seemed to shift when glanced at too long. The air near the door was colder, as if the storm outside had seeped through the walls. It seemed to him faintly, a vibration felt more than heard. The warning echoed in the traveler's mind, but curiosity gnawed at the edges of their thoughts. Why would a motel lock a room this way? What were the symbols? And why did it feel like the door was watching? That night, as the storm raged on, sleep proved elusive. Around midnight, a sound broke through the rhythm of the rain. Whispers. Faint, fragmented, and unintelligible. They seemed to come from the hallway. Pressing an ear to the wall, the traveler's heart raced as they realized the whispers were coming from room 6. The voices grew louder, more insistent, forming words that twisted and dissolved before they could be fully understood. But one phrase emerged clearly. "Let me out." The next morning, the traveler approached the receptionist, who avoided their gaze. Questions about room 6 were met with silence. But the receptionist's trembling hands and pale complexion spoke volumes. Something was wrong with that room, something the staff knew but dared not discuss. The second night brought more whispers. This time they were accompanied by a rhythmic thumping, as though something inside room 6 was knocking to be freed. The symbols on the door seemed to glow faintly, pulsing in time with the whispers. Against every instinct, the traveler stepped closer, hand reaching for the padlock. It was cold to the touch, and the carving seemed to writhe under their fingers. With a deep breath, they released the lock. The door creaked open, revealing darkness. A flashlight beam cut through the void, illuminating a sparse room. A single chair stood in the center, its wooden legs leaving drag marks on the floor. The walls were bare except for a large, cracked mirror on the far side. The air was heavy, carrying a metallic tang that stung the back of the throat. The flashlight lingered on the mirror, and the traveler froze. The reflection wasn't right. It didn't mimic their movements, but instead showed the back of their head, as though someone stood behind them. Spinning around, they found only emptiness. But when they looked back at the mirror, the chair was no longer empty. A figure sat there, shrouded in shadows, its face obscured. The whispers grew deafening, the words now clear, "Your turn." Before they could react, the door slammed shut, the padlock clicking back into place. The room fell silent. The next morning, the receptionist handed a new guest a key with trembling hands. "Room 5, they murmured, glancing toward the hallway. "Whatever you do, stay away from room 6. And if you hear it whisper, run."